Hey everyone, welcome to She Crypto. Welcome to a new episode. Today we have here with us Ania from Nexus Mutual. Ania is a fantastic contact I met back at Digital Assets Forum in February, and it's just absolutely wonderful to have you here, Ania. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much, Laura. That's such a kind intro.
So let's get straight to it. Anya, for the people who may not know your background yet, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your journey into blockchain, Web3, and what you're currently doing in this space?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, as you already mentioned, I work for Nexus Mutual, the chief legal officer. I started my career in law over a decade ago, qualified from big insurance law firm, global law firm. So I have that background in insurance and litigation. And then over a period of few years, as I established myself, I slowly moved into technology just before COVID hit. And I started developing the kind of specialist knowledge in technology. Initially, it was softwares, like the SaaS type of contracts, agreements, companies. And then slowly around 5 years ago, I started moving closer towards blockchain. So I was first with a company called Fireblocks, which I assume probably most of your listeners will be fairly familiar with, as Fireblocks is now probably one of the biggest infrastructure providers out there for both crypto and TradFi, kind of bridging into crypto. So that was my start, my beginning in blockchain. And then 3 years ago, I moved to Nexus Mutual. And it feels like I've kind of went in full circle because Nexus Mutual provides a alternative to traditional insurance. So it's a kind of blockchain based, blockchain native discretionary mutual. So it's not regulated or licensed, but the concept is very similar. And in fact, the concept goes back to centuries ago when people would still meet in pubs and put money together in order to protect each other. So it feels like, apologies, like my career went from insurance through technology, and now I'm able to bridge both worlds, insurance and blockchain.
It's really interesting. So, what attracted you to the crypto industry? So, how did you get into crypto and
Mhm.
blockchain?
So I think probably like most of the people, the concept was so nuanced. And I think any generation, as you know, if you have something that is just being invented, like we have automobiles in like early 1920s, 30s, or internet. And then there is blockchain. And I just feel for anyone who is lucky enough to understand the technology, to actually be able to enter a space at early stages is incredibly valuable, especially if you feel passionate about the nuanced concepts, because I think the beauty about blockchain, especially in a legal concept, there is nothing that is certain. This realm of blockchain, the realm of crypto, is being built as we speak. So I think for, like for you, for myself, for people that I know from the industry, it's the opportunity to build something, to be the foundational layer of the ecosystem. We will be the people who will be responsible for legislations and regulation and our input, like the DeFi, the protocols, the DAOs, all the projects. It is our input that will create and shape the future. So, from my perspective, I just wanted to be involved in something that is so fast paced and so exciting. I think it's part of my personality. I love learning. So, I was very much in traditional world, in traditional practice, I wasn't stimulated enough. I feel like now the coin has completely flipped, and it's very much I wake up every day and the question is, what do I do? Now the question is, what do I not know today? Because we still don't know so many things, especially in law, as regulation and legislation is being introduced. You have to be very pragmatic as a lawyer. And I think part of my personality, very much like to think out of the box. And I like to bridge that traditional with blockchain, seeing what can be applied and where there is still a space for new legislation.
Yeah. So you like a challenge.
I think it is a
Indeed.
perfect
Yeah.
space for that, Anya.
Yeah.
So, given your personality traits like you're describing, Anya, I think that this is certainly a very interesting pivot for you. And also one that makes so much sense, with what's happening globally, with digital assets and all of that. So I think that's but I don't know how intentional it was, but now that you're here, I'm sure that it's exciting enough.
I think most
um,
of us probably fell into this space in a way as well, right? I don't know, no one just wakes up one day and feels like this is what I want to do. Like I knew I really wanted to be in technology and I was already investigating blockchain. And then one day I received an email from Fireblocks and I felt like, okay, maybe I projected this or maybe maybe it was just by luck. But yes, I feel like I almost fell into it and then by default I fell in love with the space and stayed.
you're home. You're home
Yes.
now. Fantastic. So Anya, we know you've worked across, different areas like compliance, privacy, and regulation. How would you describe your role at Nexus Mutual currently?
It's a bit of everything. I think the beauty of being an in-house counsel is that you get to do a lot of little things, and especially at projects like Nexus Mutual that has originated as DAO, there are a lot of nuanced concepts. We still haven't got a clear definition of, for instance, legal wrappers. There is still no clear precedent. Obviously, there are some cases like Lido, but there were no legal wrappers. So this is still unclear. But I do just about everything that will be, let's say, proceedings. So we paid out at Nexus Mutual quite a lot of claims under FTX when FTX collapsed. It was probably close to $5.5 million. And then we were able to recover some of that, but we had to go through a very traditional process of assigning claims from our members onto the mutual and then filing those at the court. What else? I'm responsible for drafting all of the policies. As you've mentioned, GDPR is quite big and we have in excess of 10,000 members now, and each of those members undergoes KYC before they're able to enter the mutual. So, this is quite a big thing. We have to be quite mindful of how the data is being processed, who holds it, and so on and so forth. We have quite a few people working for the projects, so there are employment contractual issues that are also quite relevant. I've been quite lucky to be able to open a couple of new entities in offshore. So I would say the realm of the role is massive, not to mention obviously staying on top of all the new regulations. We had MiCA introduced some time ago now, but it seems like everyone is still trying to grasp the full extent of MiCA, all of the changes. I would say there is quite change in political and then by default legal environment in the US. We moved from regulation by enforcement to quite a friendly environment. And that friendly environment means that, or I would say the ripple effect of that friendly environment in America means that there is a lot of regulation that is being introduced across the world. Everyone now feels a little bit more confident and comfortable with crypto. Like you both will know, a couple of years ago, if you said that you're involved in crypto or blockchain project, everyone was very much like, oh yes, it's a wild west. It's like full of cowboys, is illegit. It's all those things, very derogatory, normally descriptions of the world. Whereas now there is a bit of FOMO, I feel like everyone is trying to jump on the bandwagon. Everyone is trying to get involved like we see that from traditional insurance institutions, big financial institutions, everyone is building rails. Everyone wants to start bridging the crypto, the ETFs. So the bridging the traditional world and crypto world. So there are a lot of those regulatory changes. So staying on top of all of the regulations. So yes, so I would say that my role is very, very wide. And then on top of that is the nuanced aspects that haven't got a solution. So what I do a lot is a lot of research or trying to find solutions that potentially do not quite exist yet, but maybe I can borrow something from traditional world. I think at the end of the day, from my perspective, what's most important is that the team members and all of our DAO members remain safe. So my role is first and foremost to make sure that whatever we do is as legitimate as possible and as safe and secure for the members and for the wider environment. Because if you have players like Nexus Mutual, we've been on the market since 2018, 2019. When you have legitimate companies like us, I think that gives a lot of reassurance and a lot of confidence to the space. Yeah, sorry, a little bit longer response, but I just feel like it's so difficult to describe my role in just, like ABC. Just it spans across so many realms.
Yeah, it is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you must be really comfortable in uncertainty, Anya, because it, you have to like produce, procedures and take decisions within your organization in an industry that, the
Mm-hmm.
wireframes are still being built and written. It takes a lot of discernment and just like good judgment to really work in the space and do the work that you do. So very
And
inspiring indeed.
also, just to add to that, I think it also takes a good team. And I feel like I am surrounded by absolute superstars. I feel like the team, the Nexus Mutual team, is full of professional people, of specialists. And that makes it that much easier. You turn around and you have Hugh, who is the founder. He used to be a CFO of Munich Re, one of the bigger insurers out there. He has quite a traditional background, and so is most of the team. And I would say that very much helps. That gives me also reassurance that what we build is built soundly and legitimately.
A question. So some people know or remember the aha moment or like the moment that they realized, blockchain technology is going to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember having that moment? You're saying you were researching blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember the moment when, it struck?
So I think initially I was interested in blockchain just because it was something different, just because it was
Mhm.
a technology. But then the moment when I realized it's actually much bigger is actually I was attending a conference. I can't remember, maybe a couple of years ago, and Tommy Lee was on the stage. And whether anyone is a fan of him or his or not, he was just giving some information how Ethereum, how smart contracts can change the future of finance and how it can affect efficiency, etc. And then I remember on the back of this, I had a conversation with someone and they were considering basically some medical data being put on blockchain and how can that improve our life. And at that point, it wasn't specifically about crypto. It was just more generally like the blockchain is such an amazing use case in general. Whether we're looking at insurance, from my perspective, I can see how this can improve the claims so much, whether we look at it from the financial perspective and, the peer-to-peer aspect of it, the medical aspect, like I said, if we can put the medical data on chain and, have access to that, whether it's in anonymized way or more as data gathering, the use is unlimited. And I think it's so exciting. So I think there were two different points. The one point was, oh yes, this is a great technology. As a lawyer, I just feel super excited about it. And then as a human being, that was probably around 2-3 years ago where I realized that the future is probably in a big way on chain. And I really hope it is, because I just think there's so many. And so the variety of use cases, it's mind-boggling.
So,
Yeah.
Anya, what excites you the most about where this is heading, the space, blockchain, crypto, and everything that's going on now to 2026? Institutions are coming in, laws are just being, more set in stone, which is, a term that's probably not going to be used as much because it's going to, there's always evolution and things like this. But what are you seeing that you say, oh my God, I'm so excited for this to just come to fruition? Or yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
So I think I'm just really excited that there will be more people accessing it, first of all, because I think now there are very few people, like even my grandmother, when I call her, she's like, is blockchain safe? Is crypto safe? Because I heard on the news. And I'm like, and she's 87, so if my grandmother has heard of crypto, that means that crypto is becoming very mainstream in a way. And I hope with a bit of education, because I think this is the next big step. It's not just a regulation that needs to be introduced. Obviously, this is super important, but without education, this space will not be safe enough to be utilized by everyday person, because at the end of the day, you have to understand what is a hot wallet, what is a cold wallet, how can you protect yourself. Anyone can buy some crypto, but how you utilize that. So I think utility is another like super exciting thing for me, like I've already mentioned, in terms of blockchain, the potential use from medical perspective and so on and so forth. And then personally, I am seeing more and more women accessing the space. And that is what I am super excited about. I had the privilege of speaking to quite a few women in the space over the past few weeks, and I can see that there is a movement. I feel like women are inherently a little bit more risk averse. So I feel like over the past few years, we have not seen as many women in the space as I would like to. And I think there are various reasons for that. I'm not going to go into, but I'm seeing a big change, and I see that there are more and more women, and whether that is because there is new legislation and there are new regulations, or just because the times are changing and women just become more and more comfortable with technology. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's a combination of everything, but I think that's probably, for me personally, the most exciting thing, because I think women in this space can add so much. And the variety, like especially looking at C-suites, any sort of managerial positions. At Nexus Mutual, we have chief legal officer and chief technology officer, both women. And that really makes difference. Exactly. That's super exciting. And I feel very proud when I get to say to people that is the case, because I take part in a lot of panels, a lot of conversations, and those rooms are normally very male dominated. And there is nothing wrong with that, but it would be lovely if it was shared, and if we didn't have to refer to women in blockchain, women in something, that would just be an equal split, and it would be an everyday thing, that would be just normal. So yeah, that's my future, or my future hope.
Yes, that's ours too. Someday we won't be she crypto. We'll just be crypto.
Crypto. Yes, that's it. And don't get me wrong, it's not, still, I love the fact that we have female spaces. This is incredible. I'm just looking at it from the perspective that, this is our way of pushing into this space. I wish we didn't have to push into this space. I wish we were just
Yeah.
entering the space freely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now that more women are getting into it, now we know it's, getting better since women are
Absolutely.
risk adverse. So it's a good sign. Yeah. So, for women who are entering or, want careers in Web3, blockchain law, and compliance, is there anything that, you wish that people understood about this career path that they may not?
So I think there are two things. First of all, I really hope that women will just go for it, because someone asked me the other day, it's like, how do you know that you're ready? And I think it's like with many things in life, buying your first house, getting a dog, whatever else, you will never be ready. So you just have to take the leap, just do it. And I really hope that more and more women just go for it. But then on the flip side, I would say if you do choose a career path in this environment, you do have to accept that there might be a little bit more risk involved. Obviously, there are different roles. I can only say that from a legal perspective. If you're a lawyer, you have to be quite pragmatic. You have to be quite prepared to make decisions that you probably wouldn't make in more traditional world, or maybe give advice that is a little bit more vague that you would want to, but you quite frankly have no option. This, at least from the legal perspective, this is not something that is very clear cut. And in entering the space, you have to be aware of that. But on the flip side, it's the reward, the enjoyment, the conversations, that you get to have. If I remained at traditional insurance law firm, we would never have this conversation. I would never sit with, two incredible women recording an interview, podcast, panel, whatever else it would be, having those conversations. And I think this is also super exciting. It gives you the opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to grow as a human, grow as a professional, evolve, and just leave just a little bit of your mark, like this is incredible. So I would say for anyone who is uncertain, I would say go for it. Contact people on LinkedIn. I always say reach out to me. You can find me quite easily on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to have a conversation. I'm always happy to I mentor people, and I'm happy to do that because I just quite the advocate of people entering the space, especially women entering the space. So if anyone has any questions or want to have a conversation, reach out to me or reach out to any of your connections that you might have in a space. I would hope that most people are quite open to have this conversation and just to give a little bit of a flavor and better idea what it's like.
Amazing. I'm sure our community is gonna take that into account, Anya. I know you were certainly extremely, um, welcoming when we met, and I thought that you'd be a great guest, and you're proving to be one. So thank you for that. Anya,
Thank you
I
so
have a
much, Laura.
question. I have one last question. For a high performer like you, and the industry that we're in, and specifically you with compliance and legal and all of that, what's one tool that you cannot live without, like on your day to day, that helps you get things done? Would love to.
Work-wise. So I am getting better and better acquainted with AI, I have to admit. This is like my junior assistant, and I really hope that there is no stigma around this. So I use AI for research, for drafts, for help. Obviously, then you do it yourself. You have to review it. You have to have you still have to have the knowledge to understand what is being produced by AI. But I found that AI has definitely enabled me, or rather gave me more time to structure my day slightly different, structure my work slightly different. And then I would say a tool that is not a work tool, but it helps me at work, is going to gym. So some of my best work, some of my best ideas come from going and lifting heavy weights, or going for a good spin session. So I would definitely recommend that to anyone who struggles with the energy, or, a bit of a brain fog. Go to the gym, because goodness me, 45 minutes of lifting heavy weights. And I'm like, oh, yes, now I know the solution. Every single time I have this eureka moment. So, yes, those are my ways.
Yeah, I think that's important. I should probably go. I should probably do that. I should do that.
I definitely
Yeah,
recommend it.
I don't do that enough. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much for, hopping in and sharing all of this with us. And I know, so many people are going to be excited to hear you and hear about your experience, and they may be hitting you up on LinkedIn to help mentor them. Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah,
much,
but this has
Karen.
been
And
really
Laura,
great.
like it's been great. And Laura, meeting you in person, um, it will definitely remain with me like forever. So I'm really glad we got to do it. I really appreciate that because you're just such a warm and kind soul. Yeah.
Likewise, please mutual.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm sure we'll see you soon again in real life.
I
I'm
hope
sure.
so.
Yes. All right. Well, thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.